Here come the boys. Y'all ready to go swimming, baby? Come on. Give it up. Get out of that water. I tried telling y'all, it's swim lessons, baby.
Today's episode is a good one. It's with the great and powerful and legendary Nick Hulberg. Nick Hulberg is the voice of North Dakota when it comes to sports broadcasting. He started this company called PSP. And PSP is helping promote local student athletes all across the great state of North Dakota, whether it's AA, A, Class B, all of the classes, he covers it all. Every sport under the sun, including hockey, basketball, football, and I learned he also covers car racing. He has broadcasted a game that I'm sure you've listened to, and getting to know Nick was, over the last couple months, is something I really treasure. He's somebody that the state of North Dakota needs, and not everybody has a Nick Hulberg in their state, and it's really important that us people here in the state of North Dakota keep him on board and make sure that we treat him right and make sure that he keeps doing what he's doing by us supporting him. And learning about the landscape of sports streaming services was something I had no idea about. And when he told me some things and how everything's changing and what could possibly become the outcome, it was scary. And so to learn about that really helped my mind and wrap around a few things that have happened in our beloved state of North Dakota. And I learned a new perspective, and I'm sure you will as well. But before we get to Nick, we got to talk about Neighborhood Pediatric Therapy. They're one of our more premier sponsors, and they're located in the central part of Minot, and they provide speech therapy services for individuals from birth all the way to age 21. Services range from free screenings, speech and language evaluations, and therapy for a variety of areas, including feeding, language, speech sounds, and auditory processing. They accept a wide variety of insurances, so give them a call at 701-837-8877 or look up what they're up to. That's www.neighborhoodnd.com. Next up is one of the best spots. I love to eat it. I just ate there after Nick and I concluded our podcast. That's Sports on Tap and Planet Pizza, Minot's best place to have any kind of fun. They've been in Minot for almost 30 years. The Mueller family will treat you right just about any way you need. You can contact Sports on Tap at their Facebook page or just give them a call, 701-837-8220. Nick and I had the buffalo chicken pizza, and it was phenomenal. And we also had these loaded breadsticks that were great from Planet Pizza. So kids of any age, they got a big gaming thing in Planet Pizza. And then if you're an adult, you want to head over and have an adult beverage at Sports on Tap. It's the best of both worlds, honestly. It's like heaven on earth. Next up is Glosso Angus. Glosso Angus is a proud sponsor of swim lessons. They're your premier source for registered black Angus since 1973. Glosso Angus cattle showcase dominance, durability, and docility and are built to thrive on the northern plains. Check out Glosso Angus, that's Glasoe, Angus, ANGUS.com. And last but not least, one of our more premier sponsors is PSP Network. It's game day. Promoting local athletes for as long as you can remember, PSP means the world to the state of North Dakota. You can contact PSP at psp.network or just look them up on YouTube. They've got a lot of fantastic streams. They're going to be doing when this comes out, they'll be doing the state Class B radio broadcast, and that's on their YouTube page. So check out psp.network. It's a great website, and you can see a lot of different things. But that's it for our sponsorships. Don't forget to turn on the likes, comment on the video if you liked it, and also follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. This was a phenomenal episode. It went an hour long, but the full hour was worth every word and every listen. And I give to you the great and powerful Nick Hulberg. Nick, you been busy lately?
I was kind of chuckling on the way in, man. I was thinking, I'm like, is this a dream? Is this real life? I've been off the radar for so long, man, with playoff time. And, I spent all day today with my 3-year-old son, Ike. We hung out all day and played monster trucks and played with cars and had just a blast. Right.
Yeah.
And then it was time to take a nap today. Yeah. And I'm like, bro, you got to take a nap. And he's like, let's play. And I'm like, I'd love to play, but right after I'll make you a deal. Let's take a nap first. And he's like, let's play, Dad. And he's just upset, and I'm like, look, dude, you got to take a nap now. You know what I mean? Like dad needs one too, you know, but it has been a busy time. It's been a really good time though. The postseason is always something that is, the grind is worth it. And I'm hoping that as we continue to do what we do, that as my kids get older, they understand what the value is and what dad being gone brings to other people. And that's the hardest part. But besides that, I'm tired. I'm beat, man. I'm beat like a rented mule. My team was going out after state Super A, and pretty typical that we're going to have a couple pops together and discuss. I woke up at 10 o'clock Sunday morning in Bismarck to about 30 texts. And the last one was from Joe Cattell that said, Nick obviously went to sleep, you know, and I'm just I had to, guys, you know, but
how many tournaments have you covered this past year?
In this past year,
like hockey, women's basketball, boys basketball.
I would have to look, and you'd think I'd know that number off the top of my head. 74 games in the last 5.5 weeks.
Oh my!
I think it was 8 tournaments in the midst of that. And then of course playoff football just leads right into our winter sports schedule.
Yeah, hockey.
Yeah, and we do the Hoopster Classic and the Dale Brown Classic, which is just a grind. And you know, the WDA stuff's a grind too, man, with the double headers every night. And we're well over 300 games this year. And when you're the guy that's got a grip on all of them and building the graphics for every single one of those, and you know, managing all of it, it can be a lot, you know, and in the postseason time, it's a stranglehold for sure.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about how you not only got into kind of your new role with the owner and executive president of PSP, but talk about how you got into this, because obviously you've got a great voice. It's arguably the voice of North Dakota when it comes to sports. How did you get into this?
First of all, thank you. My head was big enough the way it was walking in here today after the last 2 of your podcasts that I saw were Winchesky and Wilhelm. I thought, what the hell's going on? You got the wrong guy here. I appreciate that very much so. It's a crazy story, man. When I was a kid, I grew up on a farm south of Minot, and as a kid, I had 2 passions: hockey. Sports in general. I love baseball. I loved hockey. I love basketball. But hockey was number one, man. Like that's all I ever wanted to do was play hockey. Dirt track racing was another one. You know,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm huge into dirt track racing, man.
Awesome.
I announced dirt track racing all over the country as well.
Really?
Yeah, dirt track's that might actually be my best sport, man. Who knows?
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. The dirt track world is unique. But yeah, as a kid, I wanted to do nothing but play hockey, and my dream was to play hockey for Minot High and then University of North Dakota Fighting Sioux. I played hockey. I was a goalie. I was probably the hardest working kid you would ever meet, the most coachable kid you'd ever meet. But I was also handicapped, man. I was born with the balls and sockets of the femurs to the ball to the socket should look like this. I was born like this.
Oh.
Yeah. And a simple finding out later in life, like after this whole thing went down, an extra diaper for a few months as a toddler would have done this right here, and I would have been fine. But they missed it when I was a kid.
Really?
So in 6th grade, I had this like a whole 1.5 inch cut in a wedge shape out of both of my femurs that made me 1 inch shorter, and also reshaped the balls and sockets to drop down like this. Oh. After I had that surgery, I continued to play hockey. I continued my whole goal on coming back from this reconstructive hip surgery as a little kid. That, oh, by the way, my buddies are out riding jet skis and learning how to wakeboard. Yeah, they're just having the time of their life, chasing chicks for the first time. And I mean,
you look like Forrest Gump.
Seriously, man. Like I'm no weight bearing on both legs for 6 months for a full summer, and just like eating ice cream, watching Baywatch reruns, and it's unbelievable. But I battle back from this, and my whole mission is to come back and play hockey. I'm gonna start for Minot High one day. That's my goal in life. And then I'm gonna be so good that I'm gonna play for the Sioux. That's not what happened. They found out after they did this surgery, after the first round of it in Grand Forks, that there's this giant muscle that connects from here to up here. Well, when they dropped me down 1 inch, this giant muscle right here on the side of my leg. It's like a rubber band, man. It was never getting any tighter because they needed to move the muscle from point A to point B to tighten that thing back up. So I do like 3 months of this. It's probably more than that, but I remember it was at least 3 months of just like the most intense physical therapy you could ever imagine. More weight, you know, and I'm busting my ass, man. Like it's nuts. And the trainers, Kevin Melby was one of them. He's been in Minot for a long time with the Toros and high school programs and stuff. And there was a couple other guys, and I just remember those guys were just like, he's not getting any stronger. Like, what's going on here, you know? And long story short, I went to Mayo Clinic the next year, almost a year to the day later.
How old are you at this time?
12.
You're 12 years old.
12 years old.
Going through this.
Going through it. And I could write a book on just like the whole, oh man, like it was such a nightmare.
Yeah.
It was such a nightmare, man. Like the epidural didn't work when they did the surgery. So I had 2 broken femurs and they're like rolling me over to like take x-rays and shit. It was unbelievable, man. But it built me to who I am today and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they redo the surgery the next year. Keep in mind, I still played hockey that winter after that surgery was basically screwed up. And I was just a sieve, man. I played goalie, man. Like you got to be able to get up and down and move left and right, you know? And so I had 2 years there where they redid the surgery and everything went well. And now I was finally starting to rehab. Well, I was in the adaptive PE class as a freshman in high school because I was still coming back from these 2 broken femurs, basically. I was granted the opportunity to play Minot High hockey as a JV goaltender, basically like the second backup. And they understood Gary Sampson and John Willard. God bless those guys, man. They gave me the opportunity to grow and to try to, you know, rehab through Minot High hockey. In that time of doing that, I spent a lot of time on the bench, man, running the doors, you know, and just like there's one position and the kid that is left to right, up and down like an acrobat is probably going to be there over the guy that literally just got out of a wheelchair 6 months ago. You know what I mean? And in that time I was sitting on the bench and we were blowing somebody out. I don't remember who it was, Williston or something like that. And I start doing a fake play-by-play for the guys that are on the ice.
Ooh.
My buddies sitting there running the bench, you know, and I'm like, here's Tollefson, got it over to Burkhart, you know, and I just start doing the whole thing and everybody's kind of chuckling, they're laughing, they think it's great. And then that kind of became my thing, right? And all of a sudden, fast forward halfway throughout the season, Pete Fisk was my goalie coach. Love this guy. Kicks me in the pants, and I thought I was in trouble. I'm like, you know, like this is kind of out of line. Maybe I shouldn't be doing it. Kicks me in the pants, and he goes, Nicky, you're pretty good at that.
Really?
And I'm like, hey, man. I'm like, yeah. And then it was like, dude, my dream of playing for the Sioux, let's be realistic. Like
I'm probably going to be done. Yeah.
Yeah. Like this isn't happening. You know what I mean? And even being the varsity starter is not going to happen. You know what I mean? Like the reality is that my path, even though that's what I want so bad, isn't going to happen. So this path seems pretty nice. You know what I mean? And from that point, one of the guys that I played with on one of those years, he raced motocross and he was like, we need an announcer for motocross in the summer. Would you be down to do it? I'm like, hell yeah, I'm down to do it. Motocross is like one of my favorite sports. Started announcing motocross races throughout high school. And my brother was the GM and president of the Bismarck Bobcats hockey team down in Bismarck. And he raced motocross too. He sucked at it, but if he watches this, he'll get a kick out of it. You got to train Matt to do it. You know what I mean? And anyway, so he offered me a job with the Bobcats as their play-by-play guy.
Ooh.
And my brother is just a wizard when it comes to marketing and sales and just like really great people person, gets the whole, you know, like selling his relationships, man.
Yeah.
If you're an honest, good guy and you have a product that's halfway, you know, reasonable that could generate some return on investment for you, it's the sales guy that's just got to bring it home, man. And he taught me so much of the back end and just so much of, you know, the business end of sports and that whole arena. But he gave me that job. I was in Bismarck for 4 years as the voice of the Bobcats out of high school. And it's kind of where, you know, like took off from there, man. Just started picking up gigs everywhere that I could. I worked for the Skyrockets across the street.
No kidding.
Dude, I was
my God, I love that.
I was the voice of the Skyrockets, man.
Dude, I went there and I watched a game and I think the guy's last name was Bradbury or something. He was a tall white dude. and he played a little basketball for the 76ers, and it was just awesome to see him come to Minot and play for the Skyrockets.
Yeah,
Do you remember him?
I'll tell you right now.
I think he played with
Starting
AI.
out forward, wearing number 17 from Xavier, Slam Time, Steve Kesselberry.
Yes, dude, that is awesome. Shivers.
Isn't that it?
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, and he was pretty good for him. But that was a fun league they did. I really enjoyed that.
Oh man, I have so many stories about the Skyrockets. Like, I was working for the Cats in Bismarck, but I would drive back up and work for the Skyrockets on like Tuesday and Thursday nights or Mondays, Wednesdays, whenever they had games. Pros played all the time, you know.
Mhm.
And I so many funny stories, you know, being associated with the Planet Pizza Boys, and those guys are like family to me, you know.
Shout out Tony Mueller for giving us this spot today. He's the man.
I love it, man. This place is great. And at the time I was just grinding, you know, and I had moved back to one of the years I had moved back to Minot, and I was working at Planet Pizza as a shift manager. I was working for the Skyrockets, and then I was working for the Bobcats as well. And a good buddy of ours, Drew Carlson, is delivering pizzas at Planet on a night that the Skyrockets play. And they had this promo for the Skyrockets. It was the Planet Pizza Panic.
Ooh.
And what would happen would be that on the first media timeout in the second half or whatever it was, all of a sudden I would cue up this song that was like a siren, and then I'd say, "Everybody get on your feet. It's time for the Planet Pizza Panic." And Planet used to have these mopeds that would deliver pizzas. That's what we delivered on, were these little mopeds with like a rack on the back.
Yeah.
And here comes Drew Carlson, man, flying out from like where the concession stand is at the Odd, out onto the court. And he was, you know, just he'd do one little lap like this. He would stop. The Rockettes cheer team would come out. They'd grab the pizzas. I would make the announcement. I'd play some jock jams, hand the pizzas out, and he would get on the moped and peace out of there, right? Time for the Planet Pizza Panic. No one saw this one coming on this night. It had been successfully executed probably, I don't know, that 2 years in a row at least, you know, and this is like year number 2 of the Rockets, man. And here comes Drew Carlson in on that moped, dude. And he laid the thing down on its side and just all the way across right at center court, man.
Yeah.
And that foot peg just dug into it, just left a gash. I'll never forget Fred Mueller. There was VIP seats over on the one end where they had couches like this sitting there. Yeah. And Fred Mueller just goes like this, you know. I hate to admit it, but I have to. I'm a 19-year-old kid at this time, 20 maybe. Maybe I was 21. I don't remember. I was young. I literally peed my pants laughing, sitting there calling the game for the Skyrockets because Drew's standing up, you know, like, this is my best buddy out here. Tony's my other best buddy. I'm watching this guy just look like a moron, just dip the thing on its side, and the pizzas are everywhere. And no, the Skyrockets were sweet, man, for sure.
What did they do with the court? Or what happened? What did they end up doing? Do you know?
That's probably between Fred and the city of Minot as far as what that expense was. I have no idea, but they just kept on playing that night, man.
So take us into now. You kind of transform into starting your own thing, or were you like, man, I could do this full time? What were you thinking?
Yeah, dude. So we had so in that whole stretch, right? So my dream job forever was to be a pro hockey play-by-play guy. After that hip thing, and like, you know, there's a pretty cool stop. My mom, the night before that hip surgery, my mom barged into the old Ralph Engelstedt Arena, right down this hallway that she shouldn't have went into, found Dean Blaze, the former coach of UND, and was like, "Hey, my kid's having this surgery tomorrow. Like, is there any chance that he could, you know, meet the goalie that I was just in love with at the time?" And Dean Blaze like brought me into the locker room.
What?
Yeah. And Aaron Schweitzer signed a goalie stick for me, and then the whole team signed it, and I was going around the room and just like crying, you know, like emotional. And then the next day had that surgery. And from that point right then and there, you know what I mean? Like, hockey is just God, I love hockey, man. Mm-hmm. Like, just the bond and what it brings to people, and like that joy that it brought to me. And listening to Tim Hennessy in the hospital in Grand Forks for that first surgery, the voice of Fighting Sioux hockey for all those years, my idol, you know what I mean? At that point, before the whole, hey, you're pretty good at this play-by-play thing from the bench, from the coach, you know what I mean? Like, it was kind of already ingrained in my head. Like, this is something that I might want to do and pursue. And after 4 years, fast forward the story back to 4 years later with the Bobcats, man, I I got the call to go to Elmira, New York and work for the Ottawa Senators farm team.
Whoa.
Yeah, pro hockey was my dream job.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so awesome. I was so jacked, man.
Yeah.
And it was a TV and a radio job for Elmira, New York in the ECHL. I was 23. I was the youngest guy in the league. I went out there. I was there for a year. I had a bunch of, like I could sell advertising. I could sell tickets. I could do some marketing stuff. But I was also, growing that play-by-play talent. Mm-hmm. And they liked that I was young and that I was cheap, I think is what they liked about me, man. And I went out there for a year. And after a year in New York, I said, no way in hell, man. Like, I'm a North Dakota farm boy that likes to hunt pheasants and drink Coors Lights with buddies that I don't feel like are going to stab me. And North Dakota girls are a lot nicer.
Yeah.
So I decided to move back to North Dakota. And when I did, I had a job lined up at Beck Sports.
Okay.
And I worked at Beck. I was a senior broadcast director at Beck for 2 years in the infancy of Beck Sports, and enjoyed that. We were traveling all over the place, and it was awesome, man. Like we were doing good things, man. Like growing something special at that time too, and had a big part of it, kind of running everything north of the lake. And Jordan Hassler brought me in and gave me a really great opportunity, man. And to either sink it or swim it, man. And we swam with it and made it work. And after a couple years with Beck, the Minot Minotauros hockey team came to Minot. And my passion's hockey from the start. And they were looking for a director of sales and marketing and kind of like a GM position in a sense. And I was burned out from traveling from Crosby to Cavalier to anywhere north of Skakawea. And so I took this opportunity, man, and I was there with the Toros for a year. And this is like right at the time that the oil boom started really popping off. And I'm looking at all my really good buddies that, who I'm talking about if they're listening, that are just straight idiots that were working in the oil patch, man, that were making all this money. And I'm just like, what? I'm like, come on, you're making what now? So I went and chased a little oil money. I left the Toros. And went out to the oil patch, got a job. I managed a group of ladies. It was one of the coolest jobs I've had, that they were like for a trucking company, and they were like in charge of all the tickets. And I was the manager of this group. Okay. And, not my passion at all, man. Like not even a little bit.
Yeah.
But at that time, I was still the voice of the Toros. I was the voice of MSU Beavers hockey. And I started doing Minot High hockey on the radio as well, basically as like a hired gun for all three of those. And I did that for quite a few years, man. That got us to, I had some other jobs. Oil field thing just wasn't for me either. I sold commercial roofing for a hot minute. I'm terrified of heights. And
me too. Oh my God.
I got a job doing commercial roofing sales. Like if my daughter, when she gets older, she loves dad already, you know what I mean? But like, honey, I took a job to make sure that I had enough money to cover the child support and health insurance for you.
Yep.
Climbing up ladders on roofs. And I'm even looking over my shoulder off of a 10-foot ledge over here. I'm like, hey, this couch is safe, isn't it? And here I am like selling that stuff, But the whole time announcing sports and still being involved, with these career jobs, and then having the sports on the side. And I went through kind of a life change, man, in my late 20s, where I decided that something needed to change. Like I had a sales job out in the oil patch again, and I got fired from it. I wasn't fired. I was let go, but I was fired. Like I've
been fired too. It happens.
It was a mutual, like, hey, this just isn't, you got the wrong guy. You know what I mean? And I was going through some stuff with personal stuff, man. My daughter's mom and I had split up, and I went to a dark spot, man. Like just not a good, like it was a rock bottom of my life, really, frankly. And at that point, you got to have allies, and your best buddies show up for you. And they did, and Tony Mueller is one of those guys that shows up, and we're out at my house, and I'm sure I'm just slamming Coors Lights and, just doing, I'm a mess.
Yeah.
And Tony's like, you got to get back to what you're good at, man. You're a mental midget. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm a mental midget? And he's just like, he's so stern, but he's like, it's coming from a place of goodness, and he's just like, you're so talented at doing what you do. Why don't you do it, man? And I'm just like, okay, yeah, thanks, Tony Robbins. Like, this is just what we needed. And within that conversation with him, my brain started turning. I'm like, maybe Drill Sergeant Tony was right. Like I've got the skill set. I can sell, I can do marketing, and I know that I'm all right with calling games. So Pro Style Production LLC was formed.
Nice. Let's go, dude.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go.
That was in 2014. And we came out of the gate and I did it upright, man. The website, and we were going to do pay-per-view. That's how we were going to make money. I was going to have some advertisers on the side, but we were also going to charge people to watch. And after doing a year of it, I wasn't mentally where I needed to be to run a business that way, and the demand that it was going to take for me to grow that thing the way that I needed to. Long story short, it just became another back burner thing. I started selling TV ads at KMOT TV. Love that gig. It was awesome. Had a blast. Bunch of great people. And a couple years I'm there. And then I don't know, how bad do I want to sewer people on this show? I probably don't. There'll be people watch this, but I got pulled from that job by a guy who, frankly, I don't care if he hears it. He's an idiot, man. Like, this guy's a dude. Frankly, I was there for about a month and a half, and in that month and a half, I sent down a resignation letter. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not working here. Like, this isn't for me.
Yeah.
And in doing so, I'm like, if this guy can run a business, like, holy shit, so can I. Like, what are we doing? PSP Network is relaunched. Pro Style Production is relaunched to PSP Network, and it's go time. I'm like, let's get
Sink
after
or
this.
swim, basically.
Yeah, let's make it happen. And we're in the heart of getting this thing launched, and then all of a sudden, a little thing called COVID comes along, like right at the front of it, and I'm just like, yeah, this is great, and it ended up being a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, bro,
for sure, because people were we were the option for people to get there and to watch the kids perform. In reshaping and the rebranding of PSP Network from Pro Style Production, I went to the drawing board and just looked at what we were doing before and what, I'd grown up a little bit and reevaluated the whole thing. And we reshaped the whole thing. Like, this isn't about making money and trying to get people to pay-per-view and get me rich off of this. This is about kids getting the opportunity to be seen and really having that passion and diving in on it, Dallas, and like believing that, and truly, like, heart and soul, blood, sweat, and tears. I rebuilt PSP Network around that. And in the process of doing that, man, like, good things are coming from that now, with the opportunity to stick to that mission and doing it for the right reasons. And there's a lot of days where I look at it now and I look back and think, man, from where we were to where we are today, from that first launch of PSP or Pro Style Production to what we're doing now and how we've grown to Bismarck and our product itself, it's just like, I'm glad that some of that shit happened. You know what I mean? Because it set me up for where we're going and where we are now,
Yeah, I mean, it's been monumental for just the state of North Dakota. I mean, you want to watch a Class A, AA football game or basketball game, hey, PSP's got it, let's watch it. I've watched a lot of your broadcasts. I live in Crosby, 2 hours away. I love watching Minot High play basketball, and I'm good friends with Jordan Wilhelm. And I'm like, oh, PSP's got it. Let's go. And it helps me to facilitate. I'm 3 hours away. I'm not going to make every game, but I can still sit down and enjoy a good broadcast.
Yeah. And we're so proud of that. And we're proud that we're able to bring that to you, and that a guy like you in Crosby, North Dakota can stay, interjected in it or entwined in it. And the other thing is that what I find so beautiful about what we're doing and the mission that we're trying to accomplish every day of promoting these kids is that you and Crosby may have a connection with somebody here, there, somewhere, where you may watch a game one day and call your buddy who's a scout for Montana State on the for men's basketball or something, and may be able to make a phone call and say, hey, there's a kid in Dickinson that you need to take a look at that you may never have heard of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I have so much pride in that we're allowing that opportunity, or so much pride in the fact that, if a grandparent can't make it, or a mom or a dad or whoever can't make it, we give them the opportunity to watch it. And I think that is such a unique thing, that we're changing the landscape in this way, where it used to be radio.
Yep.
And then it was, you could listen online, and now it's like, okay, here we are. You know what I mean? You have the opportunity now to actually watch this, and to watch a broadcast that, if people had any idea what we're working with as far as a budget, or as far as
cameras, people, travel, boom, boom. I mean, it's a lot.
Oh, dude. And what we're throwing out right now, like the staff that we've got assembled, our Bismarck guys, our guys in Minot, just like this team that has bought into the mission and believed in the exact, where my heart is for high school sports in North Dakota. These guys have the same exact love for it, same exact passion for it, that frankly, they're making peanuts compared to what they should make for their skill level, the amount of time that they've been in this.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. But they show up and they grind for it because they love it.
Yeah.
And if anybody had any idea, like watching a PSP broadcast from where it started to where we are today, and just watching it on your TV at home and saying, hey, that's cool, they got replay now, and they've got a camera on the floor. Like, hey, this is great. The scoreboard's awesome. If you had any idea that half the time, it's me running a camera. We have a main camera guy. It's me sitting there running
switching angles,
a secondary camera, queuing up replays, doing the audio, keeping the stats, making sure that Derek Dissette's, record when he breaks Matt Whitwer's record, I've got the right points, so I got the right call. Like, I'm doing all that stuff. Like, TD's doing the same thing in Bismarck. Woody's doing the same thing in Bismarck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we've got our guys. Owen's doing the same thing in Minot. Like, we're asking so much of our people, and we're asking so much of them, and they've just bought into it, and it's been a really beautiful thing. And the other beautiful thing is that we're at a point now where it's starting to develop, and the financials are starting to get to a point where we've got a guy in Bismarck. His name's John Haugen.
Okay.
And if you have any questions on cameras or that microphone or any tech thing, how it works, just be prepared that he's going to talk to you for more than a few minutes about it, because he loves it.
Yeah.
But guys like that, man, that are just so valuable, and so the amount of appreciation that I have for him on our team, where, again, what that guy's value is, if he's working at, let's just call it Beck, or FSN or ESPN, like, that guy's making a load of cash to do the same exact thing that he's doing for PSP right now, except he's doing 8 other jobs on top of the one that he's hired for in order to make that product look good.
Right.
So I think that that's the coolest thing about what we've done from top to bottom, is just the amount of buy-in from the right people, the team that we have, to try to grow this thing and to give the best effort we possibly can every single night, man, has been really, really fascinating to be a part of, man.
Yeah, I mean, you guys do a great job, and I hopped on with Game Day Media this year, and just to see what they do, and like the camera angles and the live and the scoreboard, and just to make sure it all goes, then click now when it's a timeout to run this ad and this and this. And there's a lot of moving pieces I don't think people see. And talking about moving pieces and talking about the landscape changing, this last couple, let's say month, you had a lot of changes too, where there were certain things where if you wanted to do all these tournaments, you weren't going to have enough money to A, probably feed your family, B, keep PSP going. So you had to make a change, and you did pay-per-view. And some people were okay with it, and some people weren't. I mean, just brass tacks wise. Take us through like the mental challenge that you had to just keep it going. Because I mean, the people, like, I paid attention to your Facebook, and I commented every now and then, but comments only go so far. And there's some people who just sit online and type behind a keyboard and say whatever they want. They don't understand how that can mentally affect a person. But you kept it going, so kudos to you, and you kept a good mind frame. I mean, I just told you that story about Newtown when the manager came over and chewed our butts about talking about the court, and it was like freaked me out, and then I had to keep going with the broadcast. Like, that little stuff like that can really affect a person's mindset, but you got to kind of have that Colby mindset where, hey, let's just move on. So take us through like what you went through the last couple months with this new area.
First of all, I don't have any fingernails left, even a little bit. Like they're gone.
They're
man.
chewed off.
They're chewed off. If you know me, and if you have any idea about this business at all, the last, what I just rambled out to you about the passion and the love for it and like all that stuff, we reshaped our business and made it free so more people could see the kids on purpose. You know what I mean? Like there's no question in anybody's mind that is close to me about whether or not I'm in this for the right reasons.
Yeah.
1,000%. We got put in the situation, and this is where I've learned in the last couple of years what politics are in a very quick hurry. And I have to tiptoe through the snow a little bit on how I go about this.
Yeah.
Or maybe I just go full Monty and this is the start of where the snowball starts falling down the hill, because we're going to fight this to the end. Here's the brass tacks of it. The High School Activities Association in North Dakota has, look, see my brain just like, okay, you sure you want to go full time? Don't click it into second gear. Don't do it, man. Like I'm feeling like I'm on the YZ 125 back on the farm, you know, like, are you sure you're going to hit that jump? Sure you're going to hit the ditch like that, you know?
Well, you can say whatever you're comfortable saying, no pressure. So whatever you want to say.
No, it needs to be said. And I love this platform to do it. And I can't thank you enough for the opportunity to do it. The High School Activities Association, frankly, is charging an unrealistic amount of dollars in order to broadcast these games. For example, Newtown, where Game Day Media was, where PSP was, where 3 other radio stations were. I wasn't there that day because I was at the Super A. They're charging each and every one of those media companies to be there a fee to broadcast those events. For PSP Network or any company that wanted to do video of 4 games of basketball, 4.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Was $3,500 is what they wanted for 4 games of hoops, man. Now, we did that in Newtown. We paid another $3,500 in Minot for the girls 3-4 play-in. Paid $3,500 for Region 3. Paid $35 for Region 4. WDA is another $5,000. WDA hockey is another $3,500.
Are the boys and girls each $5,000 each?
No, WDA
total. Okay.
Total is $5,000.
Yeah.
So here's the other thing, and that's
they cut you a deal. It's not 6.
How on planet, like, who's coming up with the numbers?
There's a lot of
Like, I hate to tell you, man. Like, God bless Class B basketball. God bless it. I love it.
Me too.
AA basketball. You look at the numbers, man. Like we do A and B games throughout the year, or B and AA games throughout the year. We do a Minot High broadcast, and we'll have 1,200 people watching, guaranteed, or unique IP addresses watching that whole night. 4,000 people, 4,000 views on that event. We'll do Bishop Ryan doing an event, and we'll be lucky to have 700 when it's all said and done.
Right.
We're not comparing apples to apples. And it's no knock on Ryan. It's no boasting of Minot High School. Like, hey, they're both athletes on the floor. We're going to promote both of them because that's what we do. You tell me how doing the event that has 22 games in a tournament, 22, that has arguably the biggest crowd for, if you were at the WDA tournament, you saw the crowds, man. They're bigger than the Super A, man. You know what I mean? Huge. Or the Super AA.
WDA is awesome.
WDA basketball is the granddaddy in my mind. And that's the cheapest event. And that's and you're telling me that I can do 22 games of WDA AA basketball for $5,000. 2 plus another 2, 22, 11 boys, 11 girls for $5,000. And you're telling me that 4 Class B girls play-in games, the state tournament, 4 is only $1,500 cheaper? Where are you guys coming up with this?
That's insane. Yeah.
What are we doing? Yeah. Like, what are we doing? So here's what happened. We got to a point where I'm looking at the books, running the business, and saying, okay, on top of doing 74 games, I think it was 74 in 5 weeks, on top of just managing that alone, hotel rooms, gas to get there, food, all of it, man.
Paying your people.
Our people, man. You know what I mean? Like dude, we've gotten to this thing to a point now where people need to get paid.
Yeah.
Scott Woodmansey, Todd Diomries, and Chuck Claremont, who have been on the radio for 25 years, aren't going to do this for free.
Right.
Nor should they be asked to do it for free.
Right.
Like if they didn't have families in North Dakota, they would have moved on and Woody was the voice of the Globetrotters, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what do we expect out of a company like PSP or Game Day? What are we expecting as the state to say, okay, you guys just show up and pay us $26,100 for these tournaments, and we don't care what you have to pay your employees to do it. We just expect you to do it for free.
Right.
What? Like what? The bill and the budget that I had, the financial risk that I had, upwards of over $60,000 for a month of basketball.
Oh my God.
Think about the balls that you have to look at this situation and say, okay, here's our options. Number one, we do digital radio.
Not the same.
I wipe clean $26,100 in rights fees. That number gets dropped down to close to $1,000. Do all the same games. Now I don't have to pay camera people. I don't have to pay producers. I can drop that expense in half. Oh, by the way, if I'm just doing radio, I can send Todd Diomries to do a game. TD's an award-winning play-by-play guy, one of the best in North Dakota. I'll listen to him by himself all day long. We could send him up and do a game by himself. We could do that. That's option one. That's not an option in my brain, man.
Right.
Like we don't do what we do for these kids all year long and then not fight for them at the end and say, okay, yeah, hey, sorry, Maya Vibeto, you're gonna break the 2,000 barrier tonight. Only
the on radio.
45th, the 17th kid or something like that all time to do that. Am I speaking right there?
Yeah, no, you're spot on.
Yeah.
Vibeto's a fantastic player.
Oh, she's money. So we're gonna have her have this magical night, and the only thing that we're gonna have is a play-by-play call on digital radio.
Missing the boat. Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm not standing up for that, man. Like that's not right for the kids.
Yeah.
So I'm going to find a way to go do it. And unfortunately, here was option B. Sorry, Maya Vibeto and every Class B girls team that we covered. You were the first on the chopping block. Nobody wanted to sponsor it.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing on the chopping block, my passion, hockey, WDA hockey. Nobody wanted to sponsor it. Boom, boom. You get rid of those two things right away. So what's worse, digital radio for that or not even doing them? Now you're really going up a creek, man. I had a lady approach me this year and say, you know that Title IX's a real thing.
What?
And I said, in regards to what? And she goes, sure cover a lot of boys stuff. I said, yeah, and we sure cover a lot of girls stuff too. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Like, come at me with Title IX. Like,
yeah.
I have a daughter, you yo-yo. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, and my daughter's probably going to play. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Get out of here. So those are our options where we looked at digital radio or we kept doing what we did as far as video. We were going to have to cut tournaments. We were going to have to get more sponsorships, number one, cut tournaments, number two. We went to the grind, man. Like, I don't get upset with people saying, you're an idiot for doing pay-per-view. This is, screw you, man. What I get upset with is when I see people say things like, didn't you try to sell it? Didn't you try to make the effort to sell it? Maybe it would have been easier for you to sell it. And it just boils my blood, man. I'm the best sales guy I know.
Yeah.
You
likable guy. You sold me.
Do you think I want to lose money on it?
Yeah.
Do you think I want to lose another 40 grand this year like I have the last 2 years to the High School Activities Association throughout the regular season? You think I want to lose that money? Yeah, I tried to sell it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I get so worked up and so passionate about it, man, where it's just like we tried so hard to make it free for everybody to continue to watch. So it comes to the 12th hour and I have a decision to make. Either...
Oh, so you waited till like the last minute to make the decision what you were going to do?
Here's the kicker. Ready?
Uh-oh.
We don't find out if we even get these rights until 2 weeks before the postseason starts. We don't even find out if we're granted the opportunity to do it. So the first of the year is when we're supposed to know. There's another company in our state that has the rights before us. Drug their feet on letting everybody know when those rights were going to be released. They have the first right of refusal because they've already paid for them, by the way. They've paid for them.
Yeah.
So we're going to double dip here now. So think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Beck is paid for the tier 2.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Hassler is figuring out what move he's going to make as far as what tournaments he's going to cover. Same situation that I'm in. He's got to figure out where his guys can go, how he's going to, you know what I mean? Like he's up against the same thing. He needs that time to figure it out. What teams are good? What teams are in that are going to be a part of this? You know what I mean? We don't find out until the middle of January what events we even get the green light to do.
Oh, sweet.
So my time frame is this big on even knowing what we're going to get to do. So the first step is, here's my time frame, 2 weeks, and I say, okay, we're doing this, and this, and I'm going to sell my ass off and make it happen for the kids. A week and a half into selling my ass off for the kids, I'm over 80% shy of what I need in order to even break even on the thing. 75 businesses, and God bless them, man. Like, what are we doing? Like, we're already making a bunch of phone calls at the start of the year to the people that are already in on this deal. Now we're going to try to hit them back up. No, we're going to try to get other ones to help the cause. We fast forward, and now here we are in the situation where I'm looking at it right down the pipe of either, okay, I either lose my ass this year in doing this, number one, or number two, we cut tournaments. And I'm looking at it, and all of a sudden I go, there's got to be another option. There has to be. It's pay-per-view. Let's do pay-per-view. And the people that believe in us will understand. The people that don't can hate us all day if they want to. That's fine. Just know that you're looking at a guy right here that has more passion for getting these kids promoted than anybody has ever shown in the state of North Dakota, man. Like, I don't know many guys that are going to just sit here and say, y'all take a $60,000 risk.
Yeah.
Let me just take the risk and see if I can make this work.
It's a lot of cash, brother.
I don't have that cash.
I'm
not loaded.
Dude,
I live in a double wide trailer, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but I'm confident in what we're doing. I'm confident in our mission. I'm confident in the passion. I'm confident in my team that we're gonna work together and make this whole thing work. And now what I'm confident in is that we're gonna try our best to get this changed, man.
Yeah.
Or at least move in a direction where, here's the worst thing that happened this year. The best is that the kids got the games shown and it's captured. The worst is that we went from 3,000 views on average per WDA basketball game, or a peak concurrence floating around 2,300 at one time watching, dropped down to 300, 400. Dude. Yeah, you're telling me, I mean,
heartbreak.
Here's the problem with it. The problem isn't, we still pay-per-view, we still made buy. We didn't, I didn't get rich off it. I promise you that much.
Right.
Here's what I look at. How many Dallas Hansons in the world were out there sitting last year watching WDA that are basketball guys that have a connection, that has a brother-in-law, that has a brother that is coaching here or there, or might pass along the word about the girl from Bismarck High that maybe should have got a look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How about this kid from over here, or this or that? You know what I mean? Like, how many of those did we miss out on this year by me having to put a paywall up in order to pay the High School Activities Association to do these events? Now, in their defense, I don't know if this is right or wrong. Maybe they think that they're losing ticket gate revenue. Right. Okay. If that's the case, whatever. But here's my argument to it. If that is the case, if that's where we're at, let's work on a better solution than not having it broadcasted at all in this day and age that we live in, man.
Well, yeah, and everything's being streamed no matter which way you cut it. I mean, you got to get those people out and try to, but I see what you're saying, but I also, because people talk to me about it and they're like, what's up with this? And I pleaded the case that you just said, because not everybody, we're in this business. We see what goes on. I run a podcast. It costs me probably, with the cameras and stuff, upwards of $5,000 just to get going because I want it to be high quality. But I said, Nick's in a tough spot because say he doesn't do it. well, he's a cheap ass. Why isn't he doing this? What's going on here? PSP, all the sponsorships, he can't do it. He's cheap. Okay, now you look at the other way. Okay, now you did it, but you have to charge for it. And now they're saying, well, what's this all about? What's going on here? So either way, you were screwed. You know what I mean? Like,
Screwed.
No matter which way you go, you would have been in trouble with people.
You know what I find the most interesting about the whole conversation, though? This podcast right here, what I watched of your work with Dean Winchesky and Jordan Wilhelm, people don't understand that there's talent in the area. Like where it's a different time. Like it's time to wake up, people.
Yeah.
It's 2024. There's a guy from Crosby, North Dakota that is doing a solo mission on his own of taking the time out of his day just to get these stories out here. He likes to do it. And there's a huge upside in the future that he could maybe go somewhere with this whole thing. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, right now, it looks like ESPN. It looks like E60. It's that good. It really is.
Thanks, brother.
And Game Day Media.
Yeah.
It's that good. PSP. It's that good. What people don't understand is that there's talent, and we live in a different time where if you've got the talent and you've got the balls to go do it and you're dumb enough to go do it and grind away at it, you can make something look pretty magical. Here's the problem. You're used to seeing it on ESPN, and the only place that you're going to see an interview that looks like this, or what you did with Dean, or what you did with Willie, the only place you're going to see it is E60 on Sunday night after Major League Baseball. And because you only see it on ESPN, and now there's a local guy doing it, this guy's got to be, he's backed by somebody. He's got to have a whole crew here. No, we're in the upstairs of Planet Pizza because we're buddies with the guy that owns it, that gave us a backdrop. And you're in here grinding, putting this stuff together. It's the same thing with that I look at with PSP, where it's like, okay, so I'm bidding against Beck, who's a telecom. They're a cooperative.
Yeah.
I'm bidding against WDAY. WDAY isn't owned in Fargo, my friends. Maybe it is. I don't know. But corporate America, ABC, I'm pretty sure it's Nexstar or one of the others. Gray TV, I have no idea. Like, I live in a double wide trailer house south of Minot, North Dakota, man, busting my bag to get these kids promoted. And at the end of the day, we're classifying me in the same box as WDAY TV.
Dude, I know.
What are we doing? Well, the product looks good. You know what? My product does look good. The product does look close to WDAY. And you know what? We're doing it with a half a staff. No knock on them. They're killing it.
Oh, they do a great job.
That's awesome. Yeah. I love it. And Colin Holt, their whole staff is money.
Yeah.
They're killing it. I'd love to have that staff and that budget for just a few weekends, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now that I'd have a lot more energy.
More fingernails.
I'd have a little more fingernails right now. You know what I mean? But I think that that's two-sided. Number one, props to you, man. And props to me for doing what we're doing.
Taking a chance.
At the level that we're doing it, and taking a chance on a mission and a passion and putting it into motion. And number two, wake up, world. We're living in a different time. This isn't the day of the only time and place that you got to see an interview like this was if you had ESPN and E60 did it.
Right.
Like, we live in a different world. This isn't the only time now where you can watch a high school basketball game with camera angles and replays and the broadcaster of the year in North Dakota calling the thing. Like, this is a different time that we live in, and we need to adjust to that.
Yeah, no, appreciate you telling us that, because some people now listening kind of see it, because you tried to explain it a few times in some Facebook posts. So thank you for explaining that story. I'm sure it wasn't easy, and really appreciate that. But I want to also, because we've been at this for 10 minutes short of an hour. I know it's flown by. And before these cameras die, because they're 4K, I want to ask you 2 segments, okay? So you ready?
Yep.
This one's called 10 for 10. Okay, so it's 10 questions right in a row. There's no right or wrong answer, but you got to answer them as quick as possible, okay?
Yep.
Okay, 10 for 10, Nick Hulberg.
Hang on, sorry.
What?
I just had something on my brain real quick.
Go ahead.
I didn't even tell you the story about how I tried out for the Harlem Globetrotters. This is their PA guy. I got to tell you that another time, but let's go to this.
Okay.
But it was on my mind because I wanted to tell it to you.
I like that. Okay, 10 for 10, Nick Hulberg, and away we go. Cat or dog?
Dog.
Hot dog or hamburger?
Hot dog.
Palm trees or evergreen trees?
Evergreens.
Lake or ocean?
Lake.
Favorite actor or actress?
Chris Farley.
That is the best answer anybody's ever given me. Favorite band or rap artist?
Ooh, I like Tupac.
Like that. What city in Texas has an NBA mascot nicknamed the Mavericks?
Dallas.
What city in Texas has an NFL team nicknamed the Cowboys?
Dallas.
What city in Texas spelled backwards reads salad?
Dallas.
Who is your favorite podcaster, best friend, and the future voice in North Dakota?
I love it. Yeah, it's you, baby. It's you. I love it. You see my brain just, I'm like, God, I haven't had anything to drink, and now I'm getting I just feel like this is what the questions would be like if I got pulled over.
Nick, Swim Lessons, a podcast about overcoming the tough times. You've, in the last month, overcame a lot. What is something you can tell people that are going to take something from this podcast, maybe make it applicable to their life, that you look in the mirror when you've got to make a tough choice and you say to yourself?
Can you edit something out?
Yeah.
Can I drop an F-bomb?
Yeah.
Here's what my answer is to that. When I was 19 years old, I was working in Bismarck at Cumulus Radio. I had the Nick Hulberg show 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. I was also the voice of the Bobcats at that time, like I had mentioned. Long story short, I wanted to leave early one day because the Bobcats were going to play the FM Jets. And for whatever reason, I wanted to get out of there just a little bit early. Long story short, I had that channel's manager. I asked him if I could buzz out a little bit early. He says, I don't know. Can you suck my... And I looked at him and I said, what's that? And he goes, I don't know. Can you suck my... And I looked at him and I said, can you have your teeth broken out through the back of your mouth by my fist? Because that's what's about to happen.
Yeah.
And he's just like, no. And I'm like, I'm like, are you for real right now? Like, what the hell? I'm like, fuck this. I'm out of here either way. You know what I mean? I walk out, get in the car, call my brother. And I'm like, dude, you'll never guess what just happened. And I tell him the story, go to Fargo, do the game, come back Monday, meet with the big dogs at Cumulus Radio. Guy's name's Dean Mastel, the boss of Cumulus Radio. Giving him the full rundown of it, sitting there in his suit and tie, looks at me and goes, you know, I think it's probably best that maybe you just step away from this. You know, radio's not for everybody, and this play-by-play thing's not for everybody. Maybe you should go to college. I think that'd be a better route for you. You know, I think that might be good. And I looked at Dean Mastel and I said, I appreciate everything. Thanks, man. I shook his hand. And from that moment, right then and there, I said, you know what? There's going to be a day that I'm going to get my fuck you to this guy. And two years later, I get the hockey job in Elmira, New York, where my pro hockey dream job, right? I had that all typed up. I was going to blast him on Facebook. You know, I'm like, hey, man, you know, like, this is it, you know? And then I'm like, you don't want to go to New York going like that. You know what I mean? Like, you want to look respectable. I should probably look respectable now, but I'm giving it to you.
No, it's all good. I love it.
Fast forward the story to 20 years later, man, and I'm announced that I'm the SportsCaster of the Year in North Dakota this year. What an honor, man. The guys on that list are just my idols, all of them. Everybody that's been selected for that award, like, these are legends, man. Like, and to be in that boat with those guys is so mind-blowing to me. And I'm just blown away. Like, this is real. This was the time to tell Dean Mastel, go fuck yourself, man. Aren't you glad? Aren't you glad that this kid decided, instead of taking your stupid chicken shit advice because you wanted to avoid a lawsuit, you told him to quit his career that he had nothing but passion for? What my advice is to everybody, to answer your question, instead of saying, fuck you, Dean Mastel, I say, thank you, Dean Mastel, for being a motivation to me, and thank you for giving me this platform now where I get the opportunity to keep grinding and every single day look back at little things like that and say, here's your answer. Don't let anybody ever hold you down, tell you can't do something, tell you you're not good enough, tell you that maybe this isn't for you. If you got enough passion, if you've got enough guts in your belly to go for something, nothing can stop you. Period.
Whew. Shivers.
Let's go.
That was amazing. That was amazing. Nick, you're the man. Appreciate you. Let's do a quick plug for PSP. Where can people find your stuff?
PSP.network is where we're at online. PSP.network. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook, on Twitter or X as well. PSP Network. if you can hit that like and follow button on YouTube, it helps us a ton. And it's amazing. People don't understand how much just a like and a follow helps our mission of promoting local athletes, man. And same can be said for what you got brewing here, man. I mean, people that like this, support them. You know what I mean? Your money, man.
Appreciate it, man. Let's end it on that. Hey, let's do this again.
I'd love to.
Appreciate it, Nick. Thank you again for everything. And that's a wrap. Thank you, everybody.